Yeah. So you have to just talk about what you understood so far. Okay. What is your role? What business we are doing? And maybe some points which you feel like it is important for us. Okay. Shall we start?
Um, yep, I can go ahead with some
Yes.
information.
Yes. Yeah, as the
So,
first person, you can say my name is Nitish. I am senior finance manager in Cewmlator.
mhm,
Like, please.
okay.
Thank you.
So, hello everyone. I'm Nitish. I'm senior finance manager with Cewmlator, and Cewmlator is is established in Duxland, which is a developed company and has a regulated stock exchange. And for my role, my main responsibilities is to advise the board on key strategic matters. And our company, it deals with battery electric vehicles, which is like full electric cars. And what else? So we have there are for some background, we have different kind of electric cars, and which are like ICE cars, which are operated by petrol, diesel, and we have battery. Oh, sorry, what's the part hybrid vehicles, and sorry, plug-in hybrid vehicles, then battery operated, and then mild hybrid. So we saw in the case study that there is a there is good number of market share for fully electric cars as well, but there's still a good gap between battery electric vehicles and ICE cars, which are the traditional cars. And so what else was there? For us, we phased out our ICE cars in 2020, and we are fully manufacturing and selling electric cars. So what else was there?
The challenges we are facing. Why?
So the challenges that in the current market is that there's less infrastructure, which is causing people to not trust the electric cars because of their range and everything. And then obviously they are a bit more expensive as well as an initial investment. But the governments are promoting, or they have plans to ban the ICE cars. And so yeah, we are on a good track, and as a company we are among the top three. We have the top three market share. So we are a good developed company. And what else was there? One second. So we have, like, obviously we have different kind of products in our company. We have small cars, we have big cars, which give more range. We have premium models as well. And there was some information about that what kind of features are in the car. Every car has different kind of versions, like top models, basic models, and mid-tier models. And the people, or sorry, the market already trusts us, and we are already known in the market, and people know us for value for money products. And we already have our market in that niche area. um what else? And we have we operate in four different countries, and we have six factories. We also operate through a franchise model. So we have, I think, 4,600 dealerships which sell our cars, which also can be a bit challenging to manage, and to manage expectations, manage quality, everything. And yeah, like we have like, this is what we discussed, I think, until now.
Okay, that's good. Great. So this is fine, and maybe next time if someone is doing, they can even add certain points, what they understood, what they feel, what are like the major stakeholders. We need to discuss what we have done so far, but obviously you can add some points from yours. All right, so we'll be starting with, we have done our mission, vision and values, and we have to start with board of directors. But before we start today's session, any question, anyone? Any questions you have? Yes, no? You don't need to keep yourself mute, okay? We have to continually, keep talking. Am I audible?
Yep.
Yeah.
No questions for me as of now.
Thanks for confirming. All right. So I've given you some heads up already to read chapter 5 of P3 or go through the recording, a small video. I hope you have done it. All right. So Cewmlator is a board of directors. Here we have to see who are executive directors, non-executive directors, what is the balance, and are we complying with the UK Code of Corporate Governance? Technically, we are in Duxland, but again, CIMA is just giving this fictional country and they are testing us on the UK Code of Corporate Governance. Okay, so we need to see what are the strengths we have in our board, what is the weakness we have, what opportunity we are having with this kind of skills in the board of directors, and what will be the threat. So we have to make a complete SWOT analysis for a company, but at the same time, we'll be making a SWOT analysis specifically for the board of directors. So we have to make an Excel file with all the sheet. I'll show you that in the session after some time. But in that, you have a separate tab where we are just talking about the board of directors. And why we need to be so much obsessed about our board of directors, because any company is as good as their board of directors. We might have the best employees working for us, but if board of directors are not capable enough, then definitely we are not winning. And otherwise also, okay, we might have just have average people, not that good, but still if our leaders are good, we can still have a chance to win, still have a chance to maintain this position. So what type of questions can come in here? If you go straight to the point, they can ask you about replacing CEO, CFO, CTO. Any CXO can be replaced, including the chair. So we need to know what kind of person you are looking at. Secondly, if the balance is not correct, like in this case, the balance is not good. So they might even ask you how we can improve the balance and what kind of skills you are looking. Let's say you're preparing the job requirement. So what kind of ideal skill you are looking in a new NED, a new CEO or a new ID director, that also you should know. Third, it can be from the risk perspective. What is the risk of having imbalanced board? Or imbalanced board can lead to imbalanced committees. So we need to have different committee, risk committee, nomination committee, remuneration committee. So that also can come in place. Like what we discussed yesterday was more about the industry, the types of car. It was a little bit generalized. So if you have an overview of that, it's fine. But here there are certain points you might have to memorize. You might have to remember it. For example, who is our chair, Mr. Suren, and what is his background. So maybe at least in one line you should know what he does, what was his background, how he can contribute to the organ. Is he good enough for that? Is that clear? So today what we'll be doing after this 2-hour session, I'll give you a question and you have to do that question immediately, and you have to send, maybe I'll give you 30 minutes and in 30 minutes you have to send it in the group. Okay, and that question will be from this board of directors only, whatever we are discussing. Is that clear? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. So first we have chair Soren P or Pile. Soren had a successful legal career. Okay, so that's the background. He joined one of Duxland's leading commercial law firms after graduating with a law degree. He specialized in mergers and acquisition and has been involved in the negotiation of many major contracts. So he was promoted to partner at a relatively young age and served as the firm's managing partner before retiring. So very beautiful skills. Firstly, we got somebody who is from legal career. Usually board of directors lack somebody from legal expertise. Okay, so we have got this. And the best part is, in legal, it was not just generalized. He was into merger and acquisition. As we have been discussing industry already, we know how challenging it is, and we need a lot of suppliers. We need continuous partnership. We might need to do a lot of mergers and acquisition, at least acquisition, if not merger, because if you do merger, our existence can be gone. So acquisition, or especially small acquisition, so this expertise can be very useful. So we got two strengths here. First is legal, second is expertise in M&A. And again, another part is negotiation in major contracts. What kind of contracts we can have in our business model? Contract with the suppliers, contract, let's say some companies providing the software, some companies providing maybe the design, some companies providing the paint, any basic thing. So we are constantly doing this contract. Remember one thing, when we are in such a complex business, there is always a higher litigation risk. Why? Because if the other party defaults, or the points what we agreed has not been followed, we have to take them to the court. So this thing should be normal. And as we all can understand, there cannot be a very big organization which exists without any litigation going on. Almost every company will have it. Some might have it bigger, some might have it smaller one. Or sometimes it's just competitors are putting cases against each other, so that they will not go against them, or maybe there is some strategy to demotivate, or it's just they are fighting for the patents. It's normal. So we need this kind of expertise. Now we can argue, instead of legal, we can also have finance. We can also have somebody from who is worked in the industry in manufacturing. Yes, that's possible. Now, just looking at the one skill, we cannot judge the entire board. So let's see all the skill, then it will make more sense. Okay. Suren serves on the board of several charities, most of which focused on environmental issues. I mean, a perfect profile now. The next point is what? About the environment. Remember, yesterday we were discussing how we can manage, because environmental issue or environmental risk becomes a very important point. So we have got a gentleman, our chair, and he's working as a board of directors, not only with one charity, number of charities, and specially focusing on environmental issues. So we have our problem almost solved. So if any question comes in the exam regarding environment, you can give your control, but one control is our chair will be leading that, because our chair is expert in that, and chair has all the connection. Our chairperson Suren will understand what we need to do to maintain the relationship, what we need to do in Dutchland and the other areas to make sure that the environmental risk doesn't convert to reputation and litigation risk. So a very good profile for the chair. And remember, when we are selecting a chair is non-executive. Or non-executive, what do you mean by non-executive? So technically non-executive, we are looking for someone who are independent. Independent of what? Independent of any personal relationship with our business. They are not our immediate past employees. Let's say they should have 5 years cooling off period. They are not our suppliers. They are not the customer. They are not the majority shareholders. They or their family, immediate family, like Suren's wife or his children are not part of our company. So technically that person should not have any personal link. Otherwise, independence will be compromised. So here they have not mentioned. We can assume that all non-executive working with us are independent. You can always have a question, why you need independent. If you don't understand the logic, you can just stop me. Why? You should be very clear with why. Let's say we are discussing what it is. Now your mind should have a clear answer why we need independent. For example, here why we need a non-executive director to be independent, because they should not take decisions which is beneficial for them personally. And that's the reason we want to have non-executive. Otherwise, executives are good enough to take care, isn't it? The CEO, the other CXO, they are good enough, but they have their personal interest. For example, their remuneration is linked to the profit. Their bonuses are linked to the increase in share price, so they can manipulate. But here, these people don't have a personal interest. They don't have financial interest. In fact, they are not working for the salaries. they'll just get small amount as per the article of association, whatever the committee has agreed, just like a thank you amount. They themselves are well established and they must be CEO somewhere or board member somewhere. They have already accomplished so much in life. So their primary aim is not to join this as a source of income. Another thing which can be compromising the independence is the time. So as per UA corporate governance, we don't want anybody to be with us more than 9 years. So when Suren joined Cewmlator's board as NED chair in 2023. So it's just 2 years. Okay. So that thing has not been compromised, because in 2 years, there's nothing gonna happen much. Now, in certain cases, we allow like 9 years also, but we have to justify why we are not able to replace certain person. But here, overall, it looks good. What do you think can be any disadvantage of having this skill in the chair? Any point coming to your mind? Any logical point can you think of? Anyone?
You don't have the industry experience, the car manufacturing background.
Yes, good point. So he has been working with merger and acquisition, yes, but they have not specified that it is for our industry. Very good point. But the problem is, if we get somebody from industry, then their independence can be compromised, because directly, indirectly, they will be part of someone. That's the dilemma. We want somebody to be independent, but if you get independent, they'll not be from our industry. And if you get someone from industry who is well achieved, and that person directly, indirectly will be, having certain link, if not to us, to maybe to our competitor, to our supplier, to our customer. So it becomes a challenge for us to get somebody from industry or outside the industry. But definitely that's a very valid point. All right. Now, if we move on to the next one, the CEO. So CEO, obviously, executive. So CEO is full-time. We don't have any condition like time. He or she should be there with us for 7 years, 9 years, nothing like that. So we have Ki Zhu. He has a BSc degree in chemistry. She worked as a research assistant after graduating, but decided to pursue a career in the industry. She has worked for several major manufacturing companies, including 5 years with a lithium mining company. Very good example, or very good skill, we can say. Technically, this give us a hint. What if tomorrow, if we want to go and acquire a mining company, we already have a CEO Ki, she can take the lead. So we have got that experience. Remember, we're discussing about strength and opportunity. Now the strength is she is being part of that, our major supplier. And the best part is this strength is focusing on the opportunity. This is what we need to get the competitive advantage in the market. So if any scenario comes in, make sure you bring in the board of directors if you have certain skill. Let's say to deal with the environment, one of the point you can enter is the chairperson. Here you can say the CEO should take the lead, because we can obviously guess she might have good relationship in that industry. She might know the companies. She joined Cewmlator in 2006. Initially as a senior manager in R&D, she spent 5 years in charge of Cewmlator's Vinland factory before joining the board as operation director in 2018. He was promoted to CEO in 2023. So a great journey, starting from 2006. Many times what happen is company is hiring someone directly as a senior manager, like our position, and in few years, like 3 to 5 years, that person is promoted as a board of directors. That also becomes little demotivating for the employees if somebody is coming from outside and directly. But in her case, if you see 2006 to 2023, almost 17 years, we can say, she has been part of the organization before becoming a CEO. However, It's little weird. Both the chairperson and the CEO was appointed in the same year. Sometimes we might get a scenario, something happened 2023, that's the reason we have to replace both. Maybe our share price just went down that time, or there was a reputational issue, and both these leaders were not able to manage it. But one thing is sure, in 2023 the culture of the organization might have changed, the leadership has changed, and both the key position has changed, so definitely that would have an effect. Okay, so what else can be the advantage or maybe a disadvantage of having somebody from this industry who has worked with a lithium mining company? And when they say mining company, I think it's something like they are not battery manufacturers, because mostly companies, they just mine, then they give it the lithium as a raw material to the companies who manufacture batteries, then the battery companies are giving us the batteries, obviously as per our needs and design and everything. So they're at the start of the supply chain. So I have two questions, and I want all of you to give at least 1 point. First is, what is the other advantage and disadvantage of having a CEO from this background? And secondly, what do you think about this? Little bit generalized. Second is like, do you want us to have a policy where we're promoting people after 18 years or 17 years to become a CEO, or you want us to be more open and give opportunity to external talent? Don't just limit to what we have inside. So it's like hiring within or hiring from outside for the key position. Is the question clear? First is about the CEO, her background. What do you think about her background as advantage, disadvantage, or experience? And secondly, if you have to decide, if you have to recommend for a company Cewmlator, what you will decide or what you will recommend? Whether you want to continue promoting people within, because if you keep on continuing people within, that means we are losing a lot of talent, because it's not like every talented people is with us and they have joined years back, isn't it? So we need to get people from outside. But at the same time, if you keep on getting people from outside, especially at the senior position, the current employees will get demotivated. They'll think like, whatever we do, company always bring in people from outside. And that's very common practice. Most of the companies, majority of their board members, they are coming from outside because they want the best people. If not direct board of director, they'll come as senior manager, and few years they'll become a board of director. Yeah. Just 1 point each, quickly. Yes, Fahim, you can start.
Yeah, I'm thinking the cost efficiency for the batteries is going down, because when you go for the bulk purchase, if you have this CEO of the lithium mining company, they have negotiation power to bring bulk order for the less price, and they obviously lead to the manufacturing cost going to be down for the batteries. Therefore, we can give the car very cheap a price for the competitive market.
How we can get it cheaper?
Because he's working the lithium mining company for the 5 years. He have he have the good contacts with the tie up with the people who's mining the lithiums. The supply chain, because we have the battery producing the company also. When you do the battery, the raw material is the lithium to produce the batteries.
Right. So you want to do a strategic partnership kind of thing?
Yeah, strategic partnership, and there's the supply the material without any delaying or without any shortages come. If you have the good relation with the supplier, you will continuously can get the material from the supplier if you have that good connection with the lithium mining companies.
Okay. the second bit about employees.
The employees always we have to balance this time, because sometimes if we keep the old people, and if you not bring the talent from outside, it will lead to the company efficiency down. But you have to balance this point. Better you bring outside the more talented people who's inside, then better to bring from outside and do it. If you want to motivate the employee inside the thing, you can evaluate the people, and if they're good, you can promote inside the company.
That's it. Okay.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Other point. So you don't need to repeat the same point. Yeah.
I guess the advantage of having experience in lithium mining, because she's been working from the 5 years, so she knows how the operation works to extract the lithium on the from beginning to end, how to extraction also in the future if we decide, because we have already the mining, we have battery productions. So if we want to go for our raw material, and in future if we decide to buy it, her experience would help us to speed up our operations, to build up to how to extract and making a plan. And as she's already have worked with a major manufacturing company, so she's also have how cars and all other things is manufactures and works. I can't see any disadvantage.
How
Sorry.
you can have experience in manufacturing? For the
Sorry.
battery you said or car you said? What was your last
Sorry?
point?
I was saying that she has several major manufacturing. She worked for major manufacturing companies. So I'm guessing she may have worked for the car manufacturing company as well,
Maybe, yeah, possible.
and other things as well. But I can't see any disadvantage here, because she has worked for so many different companies as well. So yeah, and and I'm coming to the second point that you requested. I feel like we should have give to the both way, as Hayato said, but my way of thinking is different. Instead of always promoting insider, why don't we open up a recruitment, like the job profile for both of them? We can take interviews from outsider and insider as well. We can speed up little bit a recruitment process or interview for insider, and we see whether we have a good talent or not. And also we seek out outside, so simultaneously, and we can see who are the better. And then maybe we can do some simulator work related things, or report writing, or some sort of simulations of the work what they will be doing in future. And then we decide who are the best, and we can, it may be a little bit lengthier procedure, but it will be the fair opportunity for insider and outsider, and no one will be feel like, oh, they are just hiring from outside, why don't they do from inside? So both of them, outsider and insider, will be happy. I feel like this may be the best way of doing it.
Right. That's a good point, because if you just say, maintain the balance and all, it is just giving a generalized answer. We need to be very specific, especially when you're answering this in the exam. If you say just maintain the balance, we'll not get good marks for that, because anybody can tell that. We have to go beyond that, and we have to give an actual solution, a very specific point. For example, one point you can say is, when there is a role, so don't think about balancing, don't think about biasness, just have that role and make sure that internal employees can also apply for that. There's a promotion thing, and the external employees can also apply. Then you take the interview properly, do all the vetting process, and see who wins, and the person who is better should get their job. So what will happen? The inside people will also think, okay, they have got the opportunity, and even the outside will think, okay, there was a balance. If both are same, or if everything is almost same, then obviously the insider person can get an advantage, because he or she already knows the culture. Plus, it will be motivating for the employees. So if you give that, that will not demotivate them, and also they'll be happy. Okay, I have gone that, but I didn't qualify. So that biases that is reduced. So like these points you have to highlight in the exam. You have to be like actual solutions. Anything else? Anybody wants to answer? Okay. Then we can move on. I hope it's making sense. Then we go to operations director. Yeah, one more thing I was saying is usually companies at the CEO is the person who worked as the operational director or maybe worked at the operations of the company for a very long time. But here she joined directly as a senior manager. Many companies don't prefer, especially for the CEO position. You want somebody who has worked from down to up. Why? Because that person should understand the company inside out, the culture, the work. Many experts believe that the operational director or operations head, again, who becomes the operational director? The person who has operational expertise. That person should be given the opportunity to become a CEO of the company, especially in the manufacturing business or a business which is very intensive in operations. So next one we have Edwin. Edwin is the operation director. Edwin has a bachelor's of engineering degree in mechanical engineering and a master's of engineering degree in design engineering. Okay. He had a varied career working for several leading manufacturing companies. So again, they have not mentioned this car manufacturing, but definitely I believe it should be one of them because operation director means we would have looked at that. He spent 6 years as operations director of a company that makes gearbox for ICE cars. Again, expertise in ICE cars. Edwin joined Cewmlator's board as operation director in 2020. But the problem here is he has experience in ICE cars, not in the electric cars. So maybe we can overlook it thinking we don't have so much of companies doing electric vehicles that time, or we can also see this as a threat because obviously things changes, right? So when he joined during that year itself, he moved from ICE cars to electric cars. What if we got somebody from who already worked in that or who was part of some startups or who worked with electric car manufacturers or at least the battery manufacturers? That might also have been an advantage for us. So if you look so far, we don't have anyone who worked with the battery manufacturing or anything, so that if we acquire the other company, we have that expertise to run. So one disadvantage comes in if you acquire battery manufacturers like we discussed yesterday, we don't have an expertise. We don't have an experience in that. We have a little bit in mining. That's it. Because when we acquire, when we are looking at the suitability, we also see that do we have anyone in our company, like at the senior level or the board, who can lead that, who can manage that. That's how we can reduce the risk of failure because we have experienced people. Moving on, now we have professional Anna, R&D director. R&D remains a key point for our business to be successful and to be, innovating continuously. And that shows by having a specific director. Anna completed doctorate at aeronautical engineering before taking up appointment as a lecturer at University of Central City. So we have got another strategic alliance now, or strategic opportunity to do alliance with the university because we have someone who worked at the university. Her research focused on design vehicles to minimize wind resistance and so reduce fuel consumption. She had a successful academic career being promoted to professor in 2004. But aeronautical engineer, this looks a little weird, isn't it? We're not going into space or anything. Anna was recruited by a major motor manufacturer to take charge of their research activities in 2012. She was promoted to the manufacturer's board in 2016. Anna joined Cewmlator as R&D director in 2021. So the education is different, but what expertise she is bringing in? She has good connections with the university, but usually the connections can matter if it is NED alone. But now she's a full time, so we are looking at the other expertise. So what she's bringing, she has experience in designing vehicles, especially resistance with fuel consumption. So she has some successful achievement. Maybe she's part of some patents what their company has achieved. Apart from academic career, she was a professor in 2004. and was excluded major motor manufacturer to take charge of their research activities. She's already been the board of director in 2016, and she joined directly as a board. Again, that same conflict can come in. So for R&D, we have got someone directly from outside. At least for the CEO, she joined as a senior manager, then move on to become the board member, the CEO. But here she's directly becoming a board of director. Maybe we don't have an option. That's also another thing, because when you go into research, getting talent people, dedicated people, and to work for us can become a challenge. But at the same time, the current R&D team might be demotivated. This is the best example why our employees can get demotivated. But overall, we have not seen any extraordinary skill till now, the CEO, the operations director, and everything, because we are top 3 in the world, but still the skill looks very normal. Okay, if we go to the finance director, our person now, Suhas. Suhas has a degree in economics and is professionally qualified accountant. So usually companies are looking for a professionally qualified accountant. What is professionally qualified accountant? Let's say now you guys will be professionally qualified. Some of you are already there, member of a professional board. He completed his professional training while working for a major chain of car dealership. Dealing with the the car dealership or the franchisees, what we are doing, that is again an important aspect of the business, because ultimately the sales are coming from there. Initially working with a branch as assistant manager, a branch manager before joining the finance department at the company's head office. He reached the rank of senior manager before leaving to join Cewmlator's group treasurer in 2015. Suhas was promoted to finance director in 2019. Again, 4 years, he is there directly. So we are very much open to the outside talent. That's what it looks like. So what skills we are looking from finance director? Obviously, that's personal, professional, qualified income. That's personal. But what other skills we are looking at? I'd like to hear from you guys before I give some point here. I'm sure you will know some points. So what do you look in a CFO of a company or a finance director? Think about our business, our industry. What is the ideal skill? For me, it looks good, but nothing extraordinary. It's quite basic, some of the points. Do you think we can have someone better if he is bringing experience from the banking industry, forex,
Technology industry.
technology industry, a finance director? Can you explain, Rahul, why technology industry can be beneficial?
Because if you see the cars we are developing, it is all like highly technical. So we need somebody who is expertise in technology so that we can like implement that in our car productions.
Right.
And also it will give a competitive advantage, and we can differentiate our product with our competitors also. And also, if you see from the beginning, we were like talking only about the battery, how to increase the efficiency of the batteries. But there is also the other components or factors which we can like think differently from our competitors, and that will make a accumulator a pioneer in the industry. That's
All right. Makes sense. And especially when we don't have an ID director, because now we have sales director and our executive team is done. So we need somebody from technology that we are lacking. So if you don't have, then the responsibility usually goes to the finance team. So if you have finance director from that industry, should be helpful. So that's the skill we are lacking. What else?
I think being a finance director, you would have to have more experience in other areas as well. Like I've noticed that the company is highly focused on R&D, and which is obviously required for them as well, as they are growing for more better solutions in batteries. So I think managing R&D costs with the margins has to be a good experience as well, which the CFO should have.
Right. Plus, we have got a CFO from outside. He's just few years, and he was a finance director. So understanding the culture and everything would have been a challenge. But if you go to the share price to see his performance, so we don't have anything for 2019 exactly. But if you see from 2020, we have seen a decent growth. In fact, from 2020 to 2021, the growth was very high. Maybe it was one-off situation, but still overall company has maintained that level of growth. Only like 21, it went little down, but we have touched maximum 110. So looking at the share price, that is in favor of the finance director. He has done a good job. That
I'm
is-
sorry, miss, I just want to add one thing. Like normally CFOs would be more visionary, more strategic, they're more strategy oriented. Finance director or head of finances normally would be more into, more into reporting or doing this stuff like, managing their finance team or financial control. So missing a CFO in board, I'm not really sure. I haven't seen that before, with my small knowledge at least. Have you seen that normally in past pre-scenes, or is that very exceptional this time?
So, missing the CFO, I didn't get what you're trying to say.
So we don't have a CFO in the company. In
We have
Cewmlator.
finance director, no? So finance director or CFO is the same, isn't it? We call
No.
it like
Okay.
technically the role is different. Sometimes we are calling it like CXO, or we call it like a director. But the position is one and same. Like here, instead of calling the director, we can call that person CFO. Like CEO, CFO, CTO, CEO, Chief Operations Officer, or we call them Operations Director. So I believe it's the same thing.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you.
So the question here, Gaurav, I need your point, is on the skill of the CFO or finance director here. Do you think it's good enough? Because remember, we are not just a normal listed company. We are one of the top in the world.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like being on third rank in the world, we should have a CFO who can align with CEO, and these two guys would be more, strategy oriented or more entrepreneurial. Like they have their own ways of doing things, and the finance director would look at the finance team and other controls. So I'm just still wondering why they don't have a CFO. Like in my knowledge, CFO have a completely different role in a company than finance director. I'll do my research again. Like I could be wrong again.
No, I understand your point. Yeah, some companies might have both. Yeah, possible. But usually CIMA structure is they just give like this: one guy from finance, one guy from IT, like that. This is normal in the pre-scene.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, thank you.
So overall, our board of directors so far doesn't look so great. They look just good. But to look at the company of our size is nothing extraordinary. So that is an overall weakness of our board. You can just highlight this point if any question comes related to board of directors. Then the sales director, Stella. Stella has had extensive experience in sales. She studied for diploma in marketing after leaving school before joining a chain of supermarket as a sales analyst. She has since held several increasingly senior roles with variety of major companies. Stella joined Cewmlator in 2020. Again, new joiner. Initially to assist in the development of online marketing for the group, Stella joined Cewmlator's board as sales director in 2023. I mean, this looks even basic. Somebody has just come in 3 years and become a sales director of the top company in the world. Doesn't make sense. Definitely our nomination committee need to be improved. a nomination committee can also be questioned here. What they are doing, or maybe we just have very limited information in this to directly come to the conclusion. That is also another thing. But one point is for real. I hope all of you can also agree. We are not getting people from the industry. Why we are not getting? If you want a sales director, get someone from the industry, isn't it? Working in the supermarket chain and other things, I don't know how it will actually help. Supermarket and FMCG is totally a different industry, right? And we don't have an I director, and as we little bit discussed yesterday, also the cyber risk is a major part in today's world. Irrespective of the industry we are in, especially in our business where we are investing so much in R&D. That's our intellectual property, and nowadays a lot of cyber attack is happening on the company to just get that confidential information, get that, if you're working on certain patent, if you're working on certain design, they just need to get access to that, and they can go and sell in the black market, or maybe the competitors are interested in that. So we are lacking that. So cyber security looks weak. Even if you have good cyber security, if somebody looks at the board and we don't have a dedicated person, then definitely there will be question raised. That's another weakness we have. Now, if we go to the independent or non-executive directors, we need to have an equal number. Okay, so we have Salam. Salam spent most of his career working in variety of roles at Capital City University. So this connection is repeated. We already have someone from Capital City. He studied several engineering there before completing a doctorate. He taught at the university for the next 15 years, during which time he was promoted as to professor. Salam was dean of the Faculty of Engineering. All of this doesn't matter for 9 years. Before he retired from full-time academic life, he remains active in education, chair the education committee of Duxland Institute of Electrical Engineers. Okay, this can be useful, this connection, chairing the committee. Salam was appointed Cewmlator's board as senior independent director in 2021. So time-wise, the skill is okay. What expertise he is actually bringing is the member of committee. How we can utilize that expertise? Maybe we can get access to the better talent. We can have good relationship in the community, because again we need good employees who are ready to work for us, and obviously the best people if possible. What else can be the usefulness of this skill? Not much. Okay, now if we go to the next one, again we have got professor. We have got third person with the university now. Uzma had a career in journalism, specializing in business news. She spent 20 years in print journalism before moving to television news. Laterly, she was a business editor for the Duxland television channel. Uzma received several prestigious awards. In the course of her career, she is employed in a part-time capacity as a visiting professor of journalism, Capital City University. Again, Uzma joined Cewmlator's board as independent entity in 2024. Recently, she joined. So what expertise she is bringing in is the connection with the media. So many times, if something happens, again the share price will react because the media is talking about it, or sometimes it's just a wrong information. So her skill can be beneficial to maintain the relationship with the media, and maybe it can also help in PR. It can help in marketing. It can help in to grow our CSR. It can help to even get the relationship, because somebody working in media, they have good relationship across the industry. Apart from that, working part-time with the university again doesn't make sense, because that skill is also repeated. Nothing extraordinary also here. Now, if you go to the last one, we have Stam Otis, or you can say Stam in short. Stam qualified as a lawyer before entering politics. He was elected as a member of Duxland Parliament. So we got someone who was a member of Parliament. So this is being common in the industry. If you see the previous case study, Leother also it was there. So increasingly company is doing that. Why? because they know the political risk is increasing, or especially if you're into the industry like this, we know the political risk is high. So we need somebody from the politics. However, this can be an ethical question. Okay, this can raise an ethical point. He was re-elected 5 times, but was defeated in 2021. Cewmlator or Stam served as several parliamentary committees while in office. This focused on issues relating to sustainability. Stam chairs a major charity that promotes sustainable business practices. Stam joined Cewmlator's board as an NED in 2025. So recent join, and if you compare this to all other NEDs, this looks the most powerful and most effective thing. But again, ethics or ethical question can be a problem here. If they say we are being unethical, we are lobbying and all, that might be a little difficult for us to justify. What do you think is the top advantage and disadvantage of having an active politician as a board of directors?
I guess advantage would be it will be easy to lobbying the government because or to easy down for us on the industry sector or specifically for our company. But the disadvantage would be it is a CPA activity which is against to CIMA code of ethics. We should not encourage any politicians or active politicians because he retired, I guess so. If he will be still be connecting with the politicians and all.
He got defeated. Maybe he can contest again.
Yeah, so I guess it's a CPA, and CPA should not be recommended in exam as far as I'm aware, and it's not be done because it's not much
I mean, you can do it
legally.
for UK law. Lobbying
Mhm.
is legal. We can do it. Only in ethics it can be a problem. But
Yeah,
otherwise, we are legal.
yeah, I can think about CPA, corporate political activity. About that, that's the disadvantage I feel like.
Right. Others, what do you think is how you can utilize this experience and the connections? How it can benefit our business?
Better lobbying, better favorable policies in future in the government.
Okay.
I just want to add because having an experience of politically, if as we know we are in the multiple countries having operations and manufacturing, and having someone who's belongs to political party, it will enable us to get more understandable with different country policies and politics because most of the some of the country policies and all would be little bit different. At the end it will be some point going to be generalized or common, and he may have some friends in different countries or connections who can help us there as well if we have some problem or to know something better for the that particular country governments. And also I feel like the person having a political knowledge and connection would help us.
Right. Anything specific about the industry? Can you guys think of? Naisa, Pallavi, you guys are very silent. Okay.
Any the budget, future budget, any subsidiaries from our industry, we can. I don't know it's ethics or not ethics, but we can get the information in advance.
Right. Government subsidy, that's possible.
Any regulatory changes we could maybe get to know.
Very good. That's what I was expecting. So he was part of the parliamentary committee. So technically, he was the part of few people who is actually running the country, the core team, right? So he will have an idea, or he should have an idea already. What is the company's policy for next 5 years, next 10 years? He will have a decent idea what the country is planning to, what the leaders. He was also one of the leaders. What does the government is planning to do with this industry? So it will save a lot of risk. It will save us for going against the government regulation, because sometimes government can immediately come up with something new or something in our favor also. A threat or opportunity, both can happen. So we'll be ready for both. We can manage it properly. Plus, with him, we can get a lot of connections in the industry. Managing stakeholders can be easier, right? And again, maybe with the funds, with the banks and everywhere in negotiation also, it can be helpful. So many benefits we can get in here. What can be the disadvantage? One disadvantage is obviously he's from one party. What about the other party? So other party will think that, or their followers will think like, this entire business owned to this political party or this party. So what will happen? We can lose certain clients, we can have reputational risk, and will be, people will be biased towards us. They'll think, this company belongs to them. So it can also backfire. If tomorrow the other government comes in, imagine now today this, our NED's government is in power, and tomorrow the other government comes in power. What if they take actions against us just because, our company's position to be in favor of the current government? That's also another problem we can face, because obviously the government will keep on changing. That is a major problem. Another thing, as an advantage is, as he was as a top position, maybe international connections is also possible. It's at least the neighboring countries, because the top leaders are not just in the country, they travel, right? And they have good connections. So through that also, it can benefit us. If you're doing any market development, if you want any issue with the supply chain, usually if supply chain issue comes in, the government, intervenes and try to solve that. So there also we can get a benefit out. Clear? Otherwise, overall, if you see the board of directors look very diverse. So diversity is one of the important aspect. If you see from the names, we can understand people are coming from different cultures. And also we have, men, women, again, the balance is there. Now, if you just try to look the balance, I think yesterday also discussing, as per UK Code of Corporate Governance, we should have at least 50% of non-executive directors, excluding the chair. So now we have got we have got 5 executive, and how many non-executive? Only 3 non-executive. That means we are short of 2 non-executive to balance the board. Okay, but at the same time, this we can look as an opportunity. Now imagine we have to get 2 non-executive directors to the board to balance it. So now we can see what skills we need. Obviously, we don't need somebody from the university. We don't need somebody from legal. We don't need somebody maybe from the finance. So what are the 2 skills you think we can add to balance the board? We are balancing an NED, but at the same time, we want a complementary skill. What do you think is the 2 complementary skill which can help the board?
I will start. So, according to me, I can think about 2 positions. Maybe from expertise with auditing and the auditing, then the risk management, combination of one person who got also experience of doing some auditing and all, as well as having some and have done some work towards the risk management, because on a board level there is no one is expert regarding the risk related things, because we are in a very risky segment, and someone who got the risk related experience would help us to identify early, help us to in scenario plannings and all. And other, I am thinking about supply chain, because we are in very complex business, as being in many different in many different countries we have production lines and all. So if someone has from the supply chain, it would give us more better idea. I'm just talking about any days. For I would also like to add one director, which would also imbalance the board. But if I want to add, I would like to add, as we were discussing yesterday, the IT director, because the world where we are moving now, it's most of the digitalizations and online and internet. And if we don't have any much good expertise in the technologies and IT and cyber related things, we will be losing a good amount of chunk on our board level. And if something small will happen and no one knows what to do or how to do it, we will be losing so many, we may have financially damages and many other things can
Right.
occur.
Got it.
So this is what I'm thinking about,
Yeah.
because
So
I did notice on the committees that we are lacking for the auditing.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Even NEDs, we need someone from finance. We have our CFO, but for audit committee, we need at least one person who has finance experience. That is also lack. Because we have got one from lawyer, other one is journalism, other one is engineer. So NED is only three. And if you go to the chair is again coming from legal. So we don't have anybody in finance. So we need one NED who is having a finance experience. Because again, that is recommended for the audit committee. Yeah. What else? What are the other skills? Remember, sometimes we can say that we need to get an IT director as a, or we can get an IT expertise to work as an NED. But that can also become a question. In one of the exams, they ask what skill we need, and they also give a hint that we need somebody from IT. But the second sub question was, do you need it as an executive or non-executive? So what is the primary difference? Non-executive directors are not working full time. They might have their full time job. It's not like they are daily coming to office like an executive who are taking complete responsibility. They are mostly like a watchdog. They will contribute, but to a limited extent. So having somebody from IT as an NED can also be a problem because it will not solve anything. It's just for the show. Okay, we have somebody from the skills, but not actually taking the responsibility. So one is IT skill we can talk about in NED, a finance skill. What else? Risk management, risk committee. Anybody coming from as a risk expertise, that also can be a new skill that can complement our board. What else? Think like you're hiring for NED. You want to get the best NED for the company. How you can improvise your board of directors? What other complementary skills we need? Or maybe if you need time, you can just do some research, read, and you can reply for this on the group. Okay.
Can I say human resource management? We need
Human
NED.
resource, somebody from that. Yes, possible. Any
So
skills.
we are working in many countries, in different countries.
No
So the
answer is
cultures
right
are,
and wrong. How you justify matters. Yeah, Rahul, continue.
yeah. If you see, we are operating in different countries, like almost 4 countries. So the culture is different. The people who are getting employed over there, all it is from different countries. So to manage and control them, we need somebody from the NED level.
Right. The experience in human resource came an advantage. Yes. Good point. That is also possible. So what do? Do some research. And when you are doing research, you should not only think of what skills you want to get in, but also try to understand what you have. You don't want to repeat it. Something it should be, beneficial for that. Okay. And sometimes a question comes up, the probability is low, but you have to replace the CEO. Maybe the CEO resigned or CEO got into some unethical situation, or any accident, unfortunate thing happens. So they will ask, who can be the next CEO in the board. For that also, we doesn't have a lot of options here. Let's say if that question comes, so maybe you have to promote the operation director. or maybe the R&D. It's very rare the finance director will become the CEO. But again, it's up to you. If that question comes, you can give any options from this and justify, or you can just say, get the CEO from outside. It will be an open-ended question. There was one question in the exam few years back that our CEO resigned and he agreed to work for our immediate competitor. Now the question was asked from the point of view of the committees. What is the nomination committee doing? Why we have not done the proper contract and everything? And also they linked it how we can get a new leader soon, or what skills or which person need to be promoted for that position. That situation can also come in. All right. Is it making sense, all of you? You have to think, these points will not come automatic. Maybe you need to do some research also. We need to see what is happening in the industry. Go to some real world companies, check their board of directors and see what skills they have now compared to our company, and see where we are lacking, how we can complement it. Now, if you go to the role, operations director is taking care of factory operations, human resource, health and safety. Obviously, operations director is responsible for that. Then R&D, if you see research, product development, sustainability. Sustainability we have given to the research director. Okay. So maybe in research itself, we are trying to come up with a new innovation which is more sustainable also. Then Suhas, finance director, financial reporting, management accounting and treasury. So usually companies will decide to have a treasury department or not. But company like us, it's good to have a treasury department, because when you are doing internationally, the foreign exchange and everything, the risk is higher. So it makes sense. So it's an advantage to have a separate treasury department. Then Stella, marketing, dealership relations, customer service, public relations. Makes sense? Is there anything missing? They have not talked about the IT and cyber security here. That remains important. What else is missing here? After sales service, I think it will come here only in sales director, customer service and everything. What else is missing? Who is taking care of the suppliers?
Operation director should, I guess.
Yeah, even I was thinking, but they have not mentioned here.
Yeah.
What
Because
else?
they will be ordering most of the item, right? So yeah,
Procurement and everything. Yes. Health and safety they have mentioned. Manufacturing, again it will go to the operations. So there is no clarity, or sometimes what happens, we have a senior manager who is taking care of that, because we cannot have a very big board of directors. Remember one thing I said, the board is not balanced. So is it illegal to operate without having a balanced board? The answer is no. That is an ideal case. Remember in UK we follow principle based approach. So we have two approaches primarily. One is rule based approach and principle based approach. In rule based approach in the US, so you have to follow that, otherwise there will be problem, consequences for us, a fine or other legal issues. But in the UK, if it is principle based approach, you have to follow, or you have to explain why we are not complying with that. And if you're explaining, you have a legitimate reason, it's fine. It's not like we'll have a legal consequences or anything. So therefore legally we are fine, but that's not the best case. Now going to the committees, it is required for the listed companies to have 3 committees. One is audit, remuneration and nomination, and to have an risk. And now in today's world, CSR, it is recommended, but it's not mandatory. Now if we go to the audit committee first, okay, why we need to have non-executive directors to manage this? Because if executives are taking care, there can be manipulation, or they are taking decisions for their personal interest rather than the company. So what we do, we give all key positions to the non-executive directors. Therefore, if you see, non-executive directors are dominating the committees. Another requirement is we don't want any non-executive also to be part of all four committees, because we want there should be certain things which nobody knows. For example, if this Selam is part of audit, remuneration and nomination, so he should not know what is happening in risk and CSR. Why? Because we don't want one person to dominate or one person to know everything that is happening. There should be something missing. Right? Another thing is we are looking at specific skills. For example, in audit, we need somebody from finance, but unfortunately, we don't have it. And just to give you one heads up, audit committee is very commonly asked. If you think about any question coming from here, especially from the committees, 60 to 70% it will be audit committee only. They'll ask from internal audit, they'll ask audit, Therefore, purposely they might have given this weakness. So we need three in a big company like us. We need 3 NEDs. So we have 3 NEDs in the audit committee and other committees also. But the problem is we don't have from the finance. And we have another major problem. What's that? We don't want the chairperson to be part of the audit committee. That is another weakness. Why do you think we don't want chairperson in the audit committee? What's the logic? Chairperson is allowed in other committees, but not in the audit committee. Why is it so? Any guess? Or maybe you guys are aware already.
Due to dominance or lack of independence in scrutiny.
So why only in audit committee there will be a dominance? Why not in other committees? So technically, which committee is the most powerful? If anything happens, ultimately we'll find out through audit, right? Especially the financials matter and everything goes into the audit committee. So audit committee is the most powerful, right? And who is dominating the board? The chairperson. Therefore, we give the title chair. Chair is like dominating the board. Now imagine the same person is dominating the board, and now the same person we are giving into the audit. So you can imagine that one individual is getting overpowered. And it is against the corporate governance principle. We don't want anybody to dominate. Therefore, we have a chair separate and CEO separate, so that we have a flat leadership at the top. We don't want one person to dominate the entire organization. Imagine that one person itself become unethical or has some, wrong intentions. That can affect our business. So that's a very big weakness. So in fact, the audit committee has 2 major weaknesses. One is we don't have finance person, and second is the chair is sitting in the board. And how we can manage this problem? The ideal way is to get a new NED who is coming from finance and replace with the chair. So it will solve both the problem. The chair is also out, and we got somebody from the finance. Then even in nomination committee, we don't want the chair to decide who will be the next, successor, next chairperson. Every committee will also have a chair, a leader. So I hope we are following that in the other committees. And what does this committee do? Risk obviously will take care of the risk management, what we are doing, the CSR. So if risk is there, the load for the audit committee will be reduced. They'll take some part of that. In remuneration, we are deciding how much we are paying, let's say in terms of salary, or what other benefits we are doing. Insurance we are giving them, traveling, we are giving them holiday pay, whatever types of remuneration we can. And in nomination, obviously nomination also includes like the current performance of board of directors, senior managers and everyone. and also who will be the next successor of the key position, like who can be the next chair, who will be the next CEO, finance director. We have like sales director, whatever key position we have, the nomination committee should have a plan with that. That is expected. Usually in the pre-scene, they don't talk about all of that. So sometimes, it can be confusing, but we can just assume they are following it all. If that question comes in the exam, so you know what is the ideal situation and what they are doing. Because if they're asking it, they'll give you all the details. But before we move on, what do you think can be an ideal situation for us? For example, in remuneration in nomination. Any points you can think of? For example, in remuneration, we should try to give shares to retain the employees, or especially in the research team, if somebody is joining, we should pay them more than the industry average. For example, usually people jump the organization. Why they jump? Because they get 20 to 30% extra, isn't it? But why don't we pay them 20-30% extra, especially in the key position, so they should not leave us? This part of remuneration committee. What else? Any other point you can think of?
We should provide them proper training, timely training, staff or executives, their professional mentoring or something.
So training will help them to stay with us.
Training will help them to be in line with the industry, to stay ahead, because the company is made from people. So if our top guys are updated with the new technology and in their areas, the new improvements, so we would they would be in a position to lead.
Right. And it will also motivate them, thinking companies investing in them, they'll feel more valued.
Yeah, I think so. I would.
In terms of keeping them in the company and hoping that they won't leave, I feel like we should have given them some other employee benefits, because if you see in a real life company, so many companies provide some good benefits that other company won't provide or won't afford. So when they look for other company, when they give giving for interview and all, when they ask for those type of benefits or expect or desire of that benefits, they won't get. So at the end they will end up staying with us, because it happened with my brother-in-law as well. His company was paying for his rent, his car and all, and other company won't provide them that. So this is how some company does as well, because he was working for the UK construction biggest, like not the biggest, but yeah, it's quite big construction company, because they do HS2 and lots of different development things. So they were giving them for like cards and all benefits. So if they want to change to the different companies for constructions, they won't provide those type of benefits. So this is the another
What are
way
the best benefits we can give? If you're answering
yeah.
exam, if this kind of question, give examples. Don't just give generalize. So we will
Okay.
start now. What do you think? What are the top benefits we can give? And this question is not only for retaining the employees, but it should also be for attracting the new talent.
Maybe provide them a car or something, then we can provide them insurance, then maybe
These are all basic. Beyond this,
yeah, like house and all. Yeah, then I don't know, maybe some like
each company. What do you expect from your company now? Let's say you're joining a company. What will be the ideal remuneration for you personally?
depends on the company and it depends on the
Let's say they're asking you to
position.
decide the remuneration. They are flexible.
Mm-hmm.
They have a budget, and they're asking what do you expect?
But which position is it? Depends, and
It's a
like
managerial position, manager, senior manager.
okay. Okay, so if it's a senior manager, I would, before I go to interview, I would always look for the similar job related how much they are paying and what they have paid in past, and then I put 20-30% extra, like maybe if they are paying 50K, I would measure say 60-65 and then see how it goes from there.
Okay, that's it.
And on top of it, I would also look for the other benefits, what they can provide me or how they can retain me to keep in them company. I would also see how they are more interested to hire me as well.
Right. And does it also matter how they deliver? Like, do you want everything as a salary, or sometime, in different things like shares, or they want to give in like insurance or travel tickets,
Yeah,
coupons?
I would prefer more for shares, because I have seen and read as well that some company provide the ESOPs or share. Not some company do ESOPs as well as they provide a share, but in a monthly basis you can just purchase of 100 or 200 pound of shares, but they provided you with the discount rated. So every month they have put some caps. If I will get like those type of, if we can give those type of benefits, it could be also good option.
Right. So we can also, understand this with the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So if somebody is joining, they just need a basic necessity. But when the person grows, money is not the only motivator. So they need, a little bit of ego massage. They need respected. They need maybe a separate cabin. Why we need a separate cabin? So that is more of a prestige issue for the senior manager or the director. So as per the hierarchy, we can decide, we try to understand, and we'll get enough data in the market. We can see what the best companies are doing. We can compare what is the staff turnover in our organization and the best organization, maybe in our industry or outside the industry also. And we can do that practices. For example, Amazon. Amazon is usually paying higher than the industry, especially in the US. They pay a lot more than the industry average. The work is difficult, the hiring process and everything is difficult, but it makes sense. They pay extra so they can retain employees. Even in
Also,
Airbnb, they do like multiple interviews, I think 6, 7, 8, 9 to retain, to hire someone, because they are looking more on the values that person is bringing in. They're very serious, that person is coming for a specific role, and that person, imagine if somebody is having patience to do that 8, 9 round of interviews. It's rare that person will leave in 6 months or 1 year. Yes, Rahul, you're saying something?
yeah, the remuneration we can say a net that means tax will be borne by the employer itself. In that way, we can.
Right. Then same thing with the nomination. Nomination committee is important, especially for the key positions. Now, Cumulative Chief Internal Audit reports to the convener of the audit committee. So technically, we need the access for the CIA Chief Internal Auditor to the chairperson, but currently the chair is a part of audit committee. Technically, it goes to the chair of the board and the head of the audit committee. Now we have the risk factor. Okay, we have a risk committee, obviously, but they have given some of the risk. This remains a very commonly asked question with the risk, because we have the entire section, one module is P3 that is focusing on the risk. Okay, smart approach. What we do here is have to the risk and mitigation. There are some basic principles. How it can be, sometimes they'll give you a scenario and say, this is the risk and this was missing in our principal risk. So do you think our risk committee is not effective, or do you think our risk committee member should be replaced? So a discussion question can come in here. Another question coming from risk can be, they will give you a scenario. Let's say we are going into a new country. What do you think is the major risk we'll face, or we can face, and how you can mitigate that? That's the second type of question. Third type of question can be, they will exactly give you the risk itself. We are facing this level of, let's say, currency fluctuations, or we are facing a risk of theft. We are facing a risk of going out of innovation, or we are facing a risk of loss of revenue. One of our major clients, let's say we are doing B2G, business to government, and usually we used to get big orders from them, and now we have lost it. Then how you manage that risk? Then maybe a reputational risk also. So these are like common questions coming from the risk. Even cybersecurity is also part of this, obviously. And the same thing they can link to the stakeholders, then who are the key stakeholders involved, or maybe they can link it to finance or anything else. Clear? So let's see what they have given here. Cewmlator is exposed to the threat of increased competition, particularly from the manufacturer of ICE and hybrid cars that might decide to focus on BEV cars instead. So now every company is coming into this sector. What is their percentage of revenue? Everything is a different thing, but they want to be part of this risk. That's a major thing. So for this risk also, I would suggest in your risk list, try to come up with a better mitigation. They have given some very basic here, but we need to have it in more detail. And for that, we need to see what the other companies are doing. For example, how BYD is controlling their market share, how Tesla is trying to come back. So Cewmlator's board pays a close attention to the product development. There is a full-time director of R&D. Do you think this is effective, just having a full-time director? Then Cewmlator is constantly innovating to ensure that its product range remains attractive to customers. Yes, this makes sense. We're constantly innovating. So maybe we are giving refreshing design, better pricing, better services. What else can be done here?
Improve the quality.
How we can improve quality, Pallavi?
Example, for using advanced technology, like now before we are using this is the example, like petrol and diesel cars. Now it's like EV vehicles, like, so that so much innovations.
So basically you are saying to move with the trend. If something new comes up, we should go to that.
Yes.
Okay. So technically in exams, if you're answering, just a hint for everyone, if you say improve technology, do this, never give them just an open-ended and one-line thing, okay, do this. They are board of directors you are talking to. They want a very, a specific point, and you have to explain the why part of it also. You're saying improve technology. Okay, what type of technology, how you will do it, and why we need to do it. Then only we'll get good marks. If we just give generalized answer, okay, the company should be constantly innovating, then we can manage that risk. That will not give us marks. Okay. Now next one, consumer preferences in relation to BEVs can change over time, particularly with regard to the availability of charging infrastructure and the capabilities of competing types of car. So demand is fluctuating, or we can say it's not certain. Because if tomorrow government is supportive or the ecosystem is supportive, we can get a lot of infrastructure support. Let's say we can tie up with the big shopping centers or government infrastructure which already exists. We just need to install the charging station. But if it works backward, they are not ready to support, then it may be a problem. Or maybe they got lobbying from the companies who are doing ICE engine. They are also our competitor, isn't it? They will definitely don't want us to grow, because if we grow, we are taking away their market. Simple as that. So what we are doing here, Cewmlator work closely with regulators and the providers of charging facilities to encourage the development of infrastructure. But if you are working closely, we need to see what are the ways they can earn some revenue. Then only it's sustainable. The company also works hard to reinforce the message that BEV is the cleanest and most sustainable technology for the car. So for this, I have one point to mention. We got some data. It was in management case study. So when we did the questionnaire, the customers were saying, we want sustainable products. But when the sales happened, they choose one which was cheaper, despite it was not sustainable. So when we ask, the people are saying something, but when they have to shell out money, it's totally different. So we need to understand that point. Same thing with the government. Are they ready to actually invest in it? Then government policies relating to emission and sustainability are constantly changing. These can affect demand for ICE and hybrid cars. Cewmlator works closely with the government agencies in order to remain informed about the plans and proposals. So for this, we have somebody from the government itself. Being proactive always helps. Cewmlator take care to ensure that government decision makers are aware of the economic and environmental impacts of the proposal. So this is, in a way, lobbying, because we want to put maybe a little bit of pressure, or at least not allow to misuse the power or don't do something to kill the entire industry. Is there anything else we can do for this? Because the political risk is high. And what if the other country's government do it? It's not only about the ducks land, right? How else we can manage this? Any point? Any think of? No. We can also look at the UN Charter. You know what the United Nations is saying. They are also in favor of sustainability in the environmental friendly approach for the business. So they can put pressure on the government. Then government have to take the policies which is in favor of this. So internationally also we need to see, like WTO is there, United Nation is there, European Union is there. So they can also have an impact on the policy. Getting the point? So we don't need to just think about our local government. We have to think about international. Then the supply chain, availability of the resources, then the cost factor if it is actually coming down, then the economic position. Usually if something like a war-like situation happen, it not only affect that two countries, it will affect most of the world, right? Especially if it is a big country in world, it can definitely impact other countries. So during that situation also, the supply chain get impacted, the economic situation will get impact, and obviously it can affect the sales. The same point they have mentioned here also. Demand for Cewmlator's car products can be affected by economic factors such as interest rate and employment concerns. Adverse change in the economy might lead customers to delay purchasing decisions to go to buy cheaper alternatives to BEVs, or maybe you can say they'll go to more of a second-hand market. So what we can do for this? We will pay the close attention to movements in the relevant economic variables, and we consider that in planning. Okay. Cewmlator manages cost carefully in order to ensure that it offers value for money. So we are not charging heavy. The company also focuses on the benefits of owning and driving its car so that buyers are prepared to meet the cost of ownership. I mean, this is very basic. What else can we do to manage this risk? How we manage economic risk in general? This is very basic answer. How we can manage? We discussed this point yesterday. Can you recall? Okay. So first thing is we have to have multiple sources of revenue, like we discussed about insurance and financial services. That is one way to manage this economic risk. And second thing, what we can do is go into a different industry altogether. Why we are just, being into this? We can go in a different industry. We can manufacture scooters. Again, it's related, but we can do that. Or we can manufacture trucks, battery trucks. There is a lot of research is going on, and I think we can have like this, grader and JCB like machines also running on batteries soon. There has been research going on. I think it's already in the pilot project, right?
When electric buses are there, if you see now.
Buses are already out. Like in London, the government is already using this BYD buses. But not every other company. For example, Tesla. Tesla is not doing buses, but BYD is doing. So that is also one way of managing. If you diversify, automatically the economic risk goes down. Or we can do only diversification, go altogether into a different sector or different industry. That is also possible. Think of a real world example where we can get a benchmark also. Okay. Then Cewmlator has complicated supply chain, particularly with regard to the lithium that is used to make its car batteries. Any interruption to the supply chain could severely adjust production. Severely disrupt the production. We need to adjust it. So again, it's an international thing. Maybe from these three questions, this three topic, maybe a question can come. So again, we are maintaining close relationship. Whom it treats well in order to obtain priority in the events of shortage in materials of components. Do you think just maintaining relationship is important, or can we invest in them? Can we become a strategic partner? That can also be a good strategy, isn't it? Then Cewmlator maintains an inventory of critical materials and components in order to minimize the. This is again very important. Cewmlator Treasury Department is well resourced with skill leadership and access to all relevant data sources. The board pays close attention to departments recommending relating to both passive and active management of currencies. Okay, this is fine. This is acceptable. We have a treasury department, so we can assume they are taking care of. But there are some other points where the risk is not affected. So please make sure you add this also in your risk list and give a better mitigation. Okay, a detailed thing. And your answer should not be generalized. It should be specific. Give actionable steps. Any question?
I'm sorry, Ms. Would that be a question? Because I think a lot of risks are not present. For example, emissions, like while manufacturing batteries or cars, they would have a lot of emission. So it's not even here. Like,
yes. So this is just a hint. Most of the risk questions we'll get in the exam is not from here.
Yeah.
Therefore, the plan is, Gaurav, will come up with our own risk list.
Okay.
Therefore, we said like we'll make 50 risk.
Yeah.
This is definitely not enough. From here, we are getting, let's say, 5 to 10. That's it.
Yeah.
And our risk list will not only include what risk we are currently facing, like you said, emission, environment, everything. It will also include what are the perceived risks we can face in the future. For example, some risk we can just put a little bit of imaginary, like if we go to a new market, these are the risks we'll face. If you launch a new product, we'll face this level of risk.
Okay.
And for that also we need to be do. Why we are doing some kind of perceived risk is because if you go to the introduction, what it says that your role, the most important line is this: you're a senior manager, you report directly to the board. Then this one, advise on special project and strategic matters.
Okay.
If you're talking about strategic matters, this is what we are happening in the company and everything. But special project is something new, like going into the new market, launching a new product, going into the new industry.
Yeah.
So from there, with that special project, it will bring risk, right?
Yeah.
Now, how to manage that risk, that becomes a question.
Okay.
Therefore, we need to go beyond this.
Yeah.
Because we can only have a mitigation plan for the risk which we have identified.
Exactly. So, something is identified, it can be measured and responded. So
Yes.
you're actually right. We'll make our own list, and yeah.
And another logic here is what they have given is a principal risk. Principal risk means something which is high impact and high probability. Something which is like very big thing for the company. We
Yeah.
might have hundreds of risks, but
Yeah.
principal risk we want to keep it minimum.
Okay.
It's like something we need to watch on a regular basis. Something is on the top of the mind. That is
Yeah.
principal.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So risk is very important, okay, and very easy to answer that question. And ideally, if you do, trust me, if you do that 50, you will have question from that. In that case, the question also and answer also. That's a good way to score good marks then. So you'll be more prepared. Okay. Now we have financials. Financials we'll do in a separate session in detail. What we can do in the next Saturday's session, we can do complete financials and the industry. And I have given you access to the financial in the email. I hope all of you got it. So please review it once. So financials and industry we can do on the next session. But for now, we can. Why I'm saying in the next session, because we need to go in detail. I don't want to rush it. Because we'll again focus what type of questions can be coming from here and how we can answer that. So for now, we can jump directly to the news article. Share price also go with that. Okay. Now they've added a new thing here. Is this comic stories and everything? So what is this? This is to give us an extra information about our business. Usually they give us some small kid is asking anything about the business. Technically, it is giving us an idea about the industry, how it works. Models. You don't expect any question from that, like what is BEV and all, nothing. This is just to give you the background of our business in a layman terms. That's it. So you can quickly go through it, nothing much in it. Where are the batteries in an electric car? It depends on the types of electric car. Need to have a very big battery because they are totally depend upon battery power. The battery in most BEVs is built on the floor underneath the seats. In most BEVs, the battery consists of 800 individual cells that are held inside a sealed box. The cells are connected together so that they can be all charged simultaneously or used to power the car's motors. The sealed box is impossible to see the batteries. It is sealed because the batteries create a voltage of at least 400 volts, which is high enough to be dangerous if the batteries are handled carelessly. So health and safety thing. Then how to recharge batteries work? All batteries consist of three basic parts: two metal electrodes, cathodes, anode, and it flows between them. Again, this is basic. Rechargeable batteries can be restored by applying a voltage to the cathode and anode that reverses the flow of the charge of the battery. Very important. Then, is it true that EVs are faster than ICE cars? It's true that some EVs are faster than ICE. That is particularly because of the way the electric motors can perform compared to petrol and diesel. So yesterday we were discussing about niche product. Even yesterday night I was thinking, why don't we launch some of our cars, for the racing, just for the marketing. Obviously the mileage will reduce, so it can be a marketing and it can be a like a niche product. That can be an opportunity because if they are taking a good start and they are faster, we don't know, they can be sustainably faster or just the start. That way, it's possible. We jump to here. The performance of all modern cars, whether ICE or EV, is controlled by computers that manage the amount of power that is available to the drivers. These computers are called electronic control units. Okay, so from here we can take one point. The dependence on the technology, the software, and everything is important. Our board of directors is focusing only on the electrical engineers, but that is not enough. We need software engineers. We need people from IT, technology. That is lacking. They have not mentioned there. We don't have a director. We don't have senior manager, and we don't have a single line in the entire pre-scene apart from this. But it is very important. Most cards could be even faster if the software in the ECUs could be tweaked or altered. Tweaking the ECUs to increase the power available to cars drivers would increase the fuel consumption of ICE cars and reduce the range of EVs. But it can have an health and safety. It should be strong enough that we are giving a normal car and somebody is just tweaking it or altering it. That can be a problem. If the accident happens, people will not consider, okay, who did it and everything. In the media, it will be our name. Our reputation will be at risk. So we need to have a stronger controls on that. Then the second one is about the navigation system. Is asking how they know about the traffic jams and everything. So technically, this is connected with the GPS, and obviously the software is helping that. But if they use more of this, the car efficiency can be, or we can say the life of the battery will be reduced. I think we discussed the point yesterday, the same thing. Then what happens to old EVs? Are they recycled to make new ones? This can be important. Sadly, it is difficult to recycle EVs. ICE cars contain a great deal of iron and steel that can be recycled very easily. EVs consist largely of plastic and electronic waste that can be difficult to recover efficiently. So EVs are more difficult to recycle. That's a problem. In the start, we are saying units sustainable, but if you see the mining of lithium have a very big problem on the environment. Plus, when it is used, the recycling is very difficult. So other way around, it's not like greener and all the way it is advertised. It has a cost. It has an environmental cost, to be precise. But at least if some parts of that can be recycled, we should invest in it. For example, companies nowadays there are some companies, maybe small to medium, for tire recycling. They are working on it. So we can tie up with them. At least we should take some baby steps if we can. Or it can help us in sustainability reporting. The manufacturer of an EV is responsible for far more emission than the manufacturer of an ICE car. This is an interesting point. Largely because of the battery is responsible 45% of the emission from an EV is manufactured, and that is part that is most difficult to recycle. But some other things can be done. Recover nickel, cobalt, and from old EV batteries, heating them to a temperature of 1600 degrees. But the problem is it's not cost effective. And just for the CSR, why anyone will do it? Even government can't come up with the strict regulations like that. They can even recover the lithium. But we need to check if there is any company actually doing that. Okay. Now this can be important. Local government reluctant to commit to the installation of public EV charging. So whenever news article comes, it can be an opportunity or it can be a threat because it is external. If it is internal, it will strength and weakness. So they'll give you a news article. In the exam also, you have to see where it is come. It is talking good about us or bad. Usually in the exam, they'll give a negative thing like a threat. Like this is also a threat. The government is elected. They are not ready to support us. Now what we need to do, we need to see this threat is focusing on our strength or weakness. This is affecting where? It is affecting our weakness. Because in the risk also, we have mentioned the infrastructure is a problem. And now the same thing is coming up external. So we have a threat focusing on the weakness. So we need to prioritize that, how we can solve. Many motorists are reluctant to switch from cars with ICE to EVs because of concern of range and BEVs. The main problem is availability of charging points. Many motorists cannot install chargers by their homes because they do not have access to off-street parking. So most rely on the availability of public charging points and enable them to keep their batteries charged. Some drivers are keen to encourage local government response. Do you think we can work with the local government? And this, is it possible? we have one connection in the board, but again that is for the central government. We need somebody for the local government, because many times we can see in different states and different counties also they'll come up with a different regulation. Do you think it's possible? Or technically how to make it possible? That's a better question. What kind of partnership we can do with the local county or the local municipality, whatever you want to call it?
Develop the infra and create some employment to the locals, like a road and the sewerage systems, the electric system. We can do through the CSR activities.
Right. Or can we work this in the highway model? So in highway, what happens? The private player is making the highway in partnership with the government, but sometimes most of the money they are putting in, and later on the government is allowing them to charge the fee that they call it toll fee, right? When you enter the highways. Can we do something similar? We can raise an investment or do it with a very big company where they will build the infrastructure, and later on they can start charging smaller amount to the customers every time they charge. So at least the infrastructure part will be ready. Then we need to see how we can reduce the cost of the charging. But the problem is the private players should come up and they should do this investment with us. Or maybe the entire industry can come together. We can work together with our competitors also. Or other option can be just to wait and do it organically. We have some rapid charging, but they are charging a lot. Charging unit 15,000. Some drivers are keen to encourage the local government. Okay, they argue that the cost of doing so would not be excessive because it is possible to buy and install a domestic charger in a drive or garage for $1,500. Sadly, the cost of rapid charger that is sufficiently robust for the use of public is rather more than that. And obviously, when it is in public place, they need rapid charging. Who will stay for hours there, isn't it? Total it is coming $60,000 just for one. That's a massive amount, isn't it? 15,000, then installation, permits, connection. It may be some time before there's a public charging point at the end of your street. It will take some time. What else can be done for you? What do you think about tying up with the corporates? Because corporates also have a sustainable goal. They want to work on sustainability. Why don't we partner? So at least in their parking spot, when people are coming for work, they have the charging place. So they can also, show in their sustainability, their integrated reporting, and it will be a win-win situation. But the problem is, it won't guarantee it will help us. It should be an industry level change. So these are a discussion question. You can just add from both the point of view. Okay. Now the next one is, should you worry about battery degrading in your EVs? Usually it happens, right? One of the features of rechargeable batteries is that the ability to hold a charge degrades over time. This is true of all rechargeable batteries, including those in mobile phones, laptop computers, which is particularly concerned for the owners of EVs because the use case is higher and we can feel the difference faster here compared to the mobile phones and the laptops. The most obvious sign of degrading is that the car's range decreases as it gets older, but degradation can also lead to longer charging times. Replacement batteries can cost $20,000. or more. So for this, we already have one mitigation. What? We have guarantee 8 years plus 160,000 miles. But again, is that enough? Or maybe it's just the people consider this as a very big risk. The mentality of the population need to change. Then our sales can go up. Which is a concern for owners. It may be most cost effective to scrap an EV that is otherwise in good condition rather than replacing its battery. You know, that's a major problem. You have to throw it away just because of the battery. Manufacturers guarantee that batteries in their EVs in terms of guarantees vary between manufacturers, but most agree to replace a battery if the EV's range decreased by 30% or more. We are doing for 20%. That suggests that degradation could be a problem for many owners despite the guarantee. For example, a new Atom Slice has a range of 280, but that could decrease as it is 196 without being eligible for that. So 30% is too much. We have done 10%, that way we are better, or maybe we can make it to 15 also if you have better batteries. The range could decrease even further after the 8-year guarantee period has expired, or maybe it's time to throw. But I believe 8 year is fine. People usually are happy if they can just get 8 years of service, especially in EVs. And moving on to the last one, where should you recharge your EV? So one thing again I want to recall is news articles usually is there to give you a hint what type of question can come. So if you have noticed, so many times they have asked about recharging, right? They've asked in the risk when we started about the industry, then in the principal risk, now 2 news articles. So there is very high probability one question can come for recharging the batteries. Now what type of question can come? We need to see what is the main issue or what are the things happening with the batteries to recharge, what the government is doing, what stakeholders are doing, and what actions they are taking. I believe at least one question can come from here. Okay, there are almost 80,000 EV charging stations in Duxland. So if you look only in one country, it looks a decent number. But they are owned and operated in 12 different companies. Some of those specialize on-street charging residential areas to cater for EV owners who cannot install charging points at home. Other focus on motor service station to attract motorists who are on long journeys. Or maybe we need to have an alternative, you know. The best thing is to have an alternative where people are going for gas, petrol and diesel. But they need to have a rapid charging. You can mention that point. Some have a nationwide coverage across Duxland while others prefer to have regional presence. If you wish to see or if you wish to use any given company's charging points, then all you have to do is a visit website and create an account. That will require you to input your credit card details so that the company can take the payment of any electricity that you use, but the system are secure, so you should be safe. What do you think about our company giving some credit for charging? You know, when somebody joins, why don't we give that as an incentive? Because these companies are charging them, so we can pay for it, you know, at least for some in the start to motivate them. Once registered, you can download the company's app onto your smartphone. So technically, with the app, they can access everything. Payment will be taken. Okay, you can register with them with so many times as you wish and download multiple apps. It might be excessive to have all 12, but there is nothing to prevent that if you wish to have access to them all. There is no fees for having account. The companies have different pricing structure. Price in city centers tend to be lower. Obviously, in motorways are higher. Same thing. If you go in highways, the prices goes up. So nothing much in the news articles. If you see overall, what they are focusing is on rechargeable batteries or recharging issues on the 2 news, battery degradation. Everything is with the battery. Now it gives like, you know, more confidence. The question will be coming from there only. So be ready for this point. Okay. I'll also see to make up a mock which is focusing on this topic. All right. Any question?
Nope.
I was expecting more discussion today, but everyone went silent. I don't know why. I hope that you guys read the pre-scene before you come in. So, you know, we can have a better understanding. So I'll give you one question now regarding the board of directors. Maybe in some time you can take like 15-20 minutes break. There will be one question and you can take some time and put the answer in the group. And secondly, I'll share that file I was saying about the Excel, and I'll also share how to do it on the group. I wanted to in the class, but now it's already time. So it's fine. I'll put on the WhatsApp group and I'll explain the detailed message.